Amy, let me tell you about a magical place that is so exactly designed to be enclosed space, year-round fun for the whole family that I bet you already know what I'm going to say before I even say the name. Let's say it together on 3. 1, 2, 3. Great Wolf Lodge. You got it, Amy.
My kids loved Great Wolf Lodge when we went. You probably already know that it has a huge indoor water park with a wave pool, lazy river, a bunch of massive water slides. But then your pack can hit the other attractions because wait, there's more.
Great Wolf Lodge has adventure-packed attractions like Magi Quest, a live-action game kids can play throughout the lodge, plus the Northern Lights Arcade. Spent some quality time there, so your kid who loves the lazy river and your kid who loves fantasy games will both have a great time.
Great Wolf Lodge also offers great dining options and complimentary daily events like nightly dance parties, all under one roof. Unpack the car once and you're settled in to have fun. And with 22 lodges across the country, you're always a short drive away from adventure.
We've both had such great times at Great Wolf Lodge, so bring your pack together at a lodge near you. Learn more at greatwolf.com and strengthen the pack. Hello and welcome to Fresh Take from What Fresh Hell, laughing in the face of motherhood. This is Margaret, and today I am so excited to be talking to Emmy Award-winning TV host and best-selling author Tamron Hall. Tamron has just released her first children's book, HARLEM HONEY. The book is about family and love and the lessons in finding home. The character in the book is named Moses and is inspired by her 5-year-old son. Welcome, Tamron.
Thank you, Margaret. Thank you for the warm welcome. I'm excited to talk with you.
Really excited. So we all know you from your very successful television career. What made you want to write this book?
You know, it's so interesting. The first bit of advice that I received once I had my son at age 48, by the way, and there was a lot of advice.
God bless right? you. I am also with you in the older parent category.
I call it late to the party, but the party didn't start till we walked in.
Now it's a real party that we're here.
Now it's a real party. 48 years old, and the pediatrician that we had at the time said to me, parent the child you have, right? And I thought that was such a powerful statement, but I was unsure of what that meant until, of course, you start parenting and you notice the unique things about your child and all of these interesting things that come up in your family. And for us, Moses was born in 2019. His first birthday was right after the shutdown, the whole world that this kid had, and he's a pandemic baby. And so we had great plans of hanging out with grandma and cookouts and barbecues in Texas. And his cousins were going to dote all over him and be all over him and all of these things that we had planned. And there he ended up with mom and dad in the house, stuck inside. And when we reemerged, for us, we noticed that in the home, my son was super confident, ruling the roost, right? Because he had been ruling the roost. It's just us in this house. And we emerged and he was a lot more shy. You know, we went to his very first birthday party, Margaret. He was 2. Now imagine how many birthday parties he would have attended over that time. He was 2. We go into the birthday party and my son is hiding behind me. His hands were clammy and I noticed all of these things that we describe as shy, right? So I'm thinking, okay, this is a fluke. We go to the grocery store and it's like, Mom, he'd never been to the grocery store. I think the first time my mom took me to the grocery store, I might've been 6 weeks old. I'm in Texas, I probably picked out the fruit and this kid is almost 2 and he's going into the grocery store and he's so shy. But when we got home, he could tell you everything we saw, everything we heard, what he wanted to do, but he didn't do it. So I said, okay, how do we meet this child and parent the child that we have? And we started to have a conversation with ourselves about curiosity, right? And for me as a journalist, curiosity is the cure for everything. If you ask somebody what they had for dinner, you have a conversation. What's their favorite food? What's the thing that your mom makes or your grandma makes or your dad makes that you really love? All of these things about curiosity we felt would open up the door to this kid exploring life. And when I tell you, it was like oh, wow, a light bulb, like curiosity. Oh, how novel is that? This can open up the world. So the book was inspired by our journey with Moses and using curiosity of your neighborhood. In this book, it's Harlem. That's where our first home was. But in truth, I grew up in Little Luling, Texas. My street on Cosi Drive was my neighborhood, and it was the most important place in the world, even though only 5 houses were on that little country street. And so for all of us, before we go to school, the introduction to life is your neighborhood. Whatever that neighborhood looks like, that becomes your diving in to the world.
We talk a lot to a lot of different authors, and they often say, this is the book I needed, the book that they have gone on to write. They had a kid with a specific thing, or they were a mom who felt very isolated. And I love that starting point, which is, this is the story that I wish I had. And that seems to be the starting point that you're starting from with this book.
I had a multi-tier starting point, to be honest with you. My mother, when I told her about the book and she started to reveal stories about my own personality, even though I'm in TV and I present very outgoing. Even now, my friends call me a social loner. Now, I love people, but I love a dinner party at home over, the other day, there's the whole trend of these private clubs in New York. And my husband calls and goes, oh, we got invited to meet and greet at this private club. My instinct was, well, have fun.
I do not. My private club is called my bedroom, and I'm very happy there.
Exactly. It's very exclusive. What's that SNL spot? It's very exclusive. It's very private. I'm like, I am doing a sheet pan, chicken thighs with fennel. That's going to be what I'm doing. But people would assume that I would be eager and excited. And while I'm very fortunate to have this life where people invite me to things, my natural personality is one that closes in. When I'm at my show, I'm able to have a big personality because that's an extension of my home. We call my audience the Tam fam. And I mean that. I don't take family and friendship or friends who turn into family lightly. So we named this group of people Tam fam. And it feels so comfortable, even though there are like 110 people in that audience every day. We do 170 shows a season. I walk out to, in my mind, family. And so I can perform and show up with this big personality. Also, the show is about curiosity. You're on right now, you're interviewing me, you're curious about me. That opens up personality. So yeah, it's the book that I wanted to write for my son. It's the book I needed for myself, even as an adult. And in truth, I hope I am seen as an empowering woman, right? I feel that other women and an alliance of other women and other moms have empowered me on this journey. That said, when I was looking for books for my son, a lot of the characters that were empowering for boys tended to be animated characters, a little dragon who was brave and curious, or a little car who believes in himself. But for girls or children who identify as female, the images were of real girls. I have 3 nieces and a nephew. And one of my biggest moments as a superior aunt, as I call myself, because I dedicated my life to these children that were not mine. But seeing Meredith in Brave, my niece was like obsessed with Brave, because Brave, the character, the Disney film, didn't need a prince to save her. And I remember standing out in the hot sun in Orlando waiting for a meet and greet with Brave because we could not leave. She was like, Mickey, who? I need to see the characters from Brave and Meredith. And I think a lot about even my own life, whether it's a writer or an anchor who poured love in me, Midge Hill when I was in Dallas, Texas, who told me I could become what I am, or even characters like, Wonder Woman with Linda Carter. I had empowering women figures, but in this boy space of books, I didn't find as many selections that were empowering boys or children who identify as that in forms that look like them.
And I love it sort of starts, Moses is sitting on the stoop, and it's this very unsure moment. And I think allowing for that moment for boys can be harder for us sometimes to say, this is a little boy who feels out of place. He feels nervous and he's expressing unhappiness, and that's the starting point of the story. We don't just cut to the bravery. We see him in that first space, which is, I'm unhappy and unsure. And I think that that's something that we don't see enough for boys, having 2 boys myself, that we sort of want to cut to the point of like, look at the brave superhero.
Yeah. exactly.
But I like that you start at that point of, no, I feel really unsure right now.
Thank you for that. I can't tell you how much it means to me that you instantly picked up on that, because our language, when it comes to emotions, right? We know now that telling a kid big boys don't cry or big girls don't cry is not positive reinforcement. When it comes to uncertainty and fear, things that we all experience on a daily basis, when it comes to our children, I think for me anyway, it hit a nerve, right? Because I want to be a superhero, right? I remember my kid is obsessed with Kids Bop, and he's like, oh, Kids Bop. He's like, Mr.
My condolences. We went through that phase as well. It's not amazing. Not amazing. Love to you, Kids Bop, but wow, that was a rough phase of life. Very talented children, but I'm not sure I need to hear Lady Gaga sung by 6-year-olds.
So 2 funny stories. First of all, Cruel Summer in my home, we were somewhere and the Taylor Swift version plays and my son's like, who is that? Like, who's that singing the Kids Bop song? I said, Taylor Swift. Who? I was
She
like,
stole Kids Bop.
Like, who? I was like, he was offended. He was offended that this woman had stolen this, who's this angelic voice that's stealing my Kids Bop? So he's in love with Kids Bop. And he says, I want to go to Kids Bop Live. It's a big concert in Jersey. And I said, okay, great. So we get tickets and we get there and it's like 5 bajillion parents and kids and we stand in line and he's cool. And it's a long line and he's cool. And we work through, we get to our seat, or at least near our seat. And he says, I want to go back home. And I said, wait, what? And he's like, I said, it's Kids Bop. The concert's going. So he goes, I want to get out of here. He specifically said, I want to get out of here. Now, as a mom, I'm thinking, do I say, no, we're not. We paid for these tickets. You're going to get in this seat. Let's go. Be brave, right? Or do I say, you're absolutely right. Let's get out of here, because I knew how excited he was. And I could cry now because it all rushes back to me wanting to save him, right? Wanting him to be free of this fear. And I said, okay, we can stand here for a minute. We don't have to go to our chairs. You can look around. And I gave him the time to take it in. And before I knew it, he's in his seat. We are dancing and we're having a great time. So going back to what you said about the book, for me, I also needed this journey in creating this book as a reminder of patience. We talk about motor skills, right? It's easy to put their shoes on. It's easier to put their socks on when we're rushing. We got to get out of here. I got to go. I'm going to put your backpack on you. We're going to get out the door. And that doesn't allow for them to have that moment to pull their socks on, to put their shoes on, because we're rushing to get out the door. At least I am. If I'm being honest, that is sometimes my thing. And you forget they need that time. So in this Kids Bop Live moment, first of all, I had to erase the worry of judgment, right? My kid's standing there looking terrified and I'm worried about other parents. I have to recognize half the room has experienced this. So erasing that shame, if that's the word, or the desire to want to look like the perfect mom and my kids got it all together. So I have to push that down, right? And now I've pushed down the desire to save this kid from this moment. And then I have to let rise up in me patience, which actually often in my body lives on a little lonely island.
Far out to sea.
Because I'm rushing through the day. So I have to allow... Right. He's out to sea. It's like patience is waving. Like I need to be saved. So I reel in patience and let the other stuff die down. And to see him walk to that seat and end up dancing, fast forward a couple of months later, they're performing again at the Beacon Theater. This time he wants his friends from school to come. I said, okay, great. But there's a fear like, okay, oh boy, his friends are going to come. And what if he's nervous and it turns into this whole thing? He walked right in, got his popcorn, jammed out with his friends. After the concert, he had a chance to meet them. And he says, you guys did a great job. Great performance. I was like, wait, what?
He's the mayor.
Like, who is this guy?
Yeah.
I'm like Mayor McCheese over here. 3 minutes ago, you were like crying, So I was like, but I found this humor and this burst of joy. So the book really is about finding a way to bring in this joy and sharing with them that on the other side of fear is fun. And I think that we have been able to grow with Moses through curiosity. And so that's why the book takes you through the neighborhood. It takes you through restaurants. It talks about music. I find those common threads, no matter your race, no matter your geographic location in this planet, no matter your age or when you had this kid. Common threads are what connects them to us as parents and connects them to the world. And food, music are generally common threads.
I love that. I'm talking to Tamron Hall, the author of Harlem Honey, and we will be right back.
Hellions, it's time for some spring cleaning, and I don't just mean the coat closets. Doing your financial spring cleaning can actually be super easy when you let Monarch do your financial spring cleaning for you. One dashboard that gets your entire financial life organized. No more clutter, no more mess, no more logins scattered everywhere, just accounts, investments, property, and more, all in one place. Get your first year of Monarch for half off, just $50 with promo code FRESH. Monarch allows you to look not only at what you've already spent, but also to plan for the future. With Monarch, you can set savings goals, plan for big purchases, and notice spending trends before they become a problem. I can generate cash flow reports that show me what we spent this quarter, this month, what we're probably going to spend next month, and feel prepared, organized, and knowing how to plan for the future. No more surprises and a lot more clarity. Try Monarch. Use code FRESH at monarch.com to get your first year half off at just $50. That's 50% off your first year at monarch.com with code FRESH.
You know that thing where you get an amazing pair of shoes at a really great price and want to tell everyone about it? Yeah, so do we. Here at Designer Shoe Warehouse, we'll give you something to brag about, like the latest styles from brands you love, or the trends everyone's obsessing over, or shoes that make you feel like, well, you. So go ahead, show off a little. Find shoes that get you at prices that get your budget. Head to your DSW store or DSW.com today. DSW. Let us surprise you.
My favorite skincare products actually feel more like self-care, like they're so nice to put on and they smell so good that I'm actually happy when I get to that part of my day. And I swear that is how I feel about Osea's anti-aging body balm.
Amy, you are usually the lotions and potions queen on this podcast, but I have to say, hard agree.
Osea's anti-aging body balm is a liquid silk body balm that combines the lasting hydration of a lotion with the firming power of a serum, leaving skin smoother and firmer.
This body balm is clinically tested and designed to deliver visible results you can see and feel.
So we've gotten to use this product for a couple of months now, and I swear I have really noticed firmer and smoother skin, like on the back of my hands. It's like getting a mini spa treatment from head to toe.
Get a spring-worthy glow with clean, clinically tested skincare from Osea. And right now, we have a special discount just for our listeners.
Get 10% off your first order site-wide with code FRESH at OseaMalibu.com.
That's 10% off your first order with code FRESH at OSEAMalibu.com. Here's something else that jumped out to me right away in this book that I absolutely loved. The mom in the book is going to work. And Moses, the child, is having this hard time. And the first thing she says is, I'm going to work. There's a taxi waiting out front, and I will see you later. And there's no, this is terrible that I have to go to work. I'm so sorry I have to go to work. It's just, mom's going to work. And the beginning of the adventure sort of starts from that point. But was that a conscious choice? That jumped out to me so much that like mom's going to work and it's okay.
Oh, yeah. It was because my son, I found out I was pregnant on the day I shot my pilot of my talk show. So now I am really raising two things that I love. I'm trying to eat healthy and be present in this pregnancy while trying to also create a show that reflects the community that I want. I want this healthy, positive, inspiring talk show. So at the same time, I'm trying to nurture both of these things. And then real life happens. I've got to go to the studio every day. As I said, we shoot 6 a week. And I originally started out like the parent who was lying on the back, like sneaking out of the room. I did every version of the caterpillar to sneak out of my home that you can imagine. Oh my God.
Going back to 16, like you're opening the window and going out.
Yes. I'm like rappelling down the back. Like, oh, is the car down there? And Tova Klein, who was the former lead of the Toddler Center here in New York City, it's at Barnard College. It's a really phenomenal center that studies behavior, and it starts at age 2.
We've referenced Tova Klein on the podcast.
She's brilliant, and she's just wonderful. And she talks about you want them to see your life. You want them to understand that you're not leaving forever. Right? You do return. It's almost like peekaboo, right? I always thought that was just a game, but that's to help their mind see that you can be gone, but still be there. And it's all of these things of learning. And I started early on really saying to my son, I've got to go to work. What do you do? And that created a conversation. So if you ask him now, what do I do for a living? He says, you ask people questions. But one of the cutest things, when my name would pop up on the show and we were watching at home, well, I don't watch the show. I never watch myself on TV. I'm too self-conscious, but it pops up. And if you would ask him when he was around 2, how do you spell mom? He would say Tamron spells mom, because he thought that was mom. It was so funny. But I wanted him to understand that this was also a part of me. And the only reason I was prepared for that, to be honest with you, is that moms like yourself, writers and guests on my show, others who've done it before me, I listen and I learn, right? I don't just have guests on or moms who are at the forefront of these conversations to fill airtime. Many times, selfishly, it's for me. So I learned to really share with my son the other versions of myself. And that other version happens to be that I work outside of the home. And I've had friends who work at home, in home, or their job is to keep the wheels on that house, letting them know things don't just magically happen. I love my husband to death, but there are times he just magically believes all the paper towels come in.
The elves.
And I'm like, no, that doesn't,
we call those the dishwashing elves in my house.
He's amazing. And he would go out and get whatever I ask him to get if need be. But he believes that this house is stocked and ready. The toothpaste just magically appears because I am secretly online doing all these things. And to help our marriage after the pandemic, I was like, dude, listen, this is how it goes. We have to see these other sides of each other. You don't know. And I don't know if you hear that sound. So in my book is a bird. In the Adventures of Harlem Honey.
Yes.
In the Adventures of Harlem Honey, there's a little bird named JoJo. She too is real. And she hears us talking right now.
She's here.
Hearing us.
That's JoJo
that is
in the
not
background.
my smoke detector. That's not my husband neglecting to get on the ladder to do it, or me, for that matter, neglecting it. That is JoJo, and she hears us talking. She wants to say that she's also...
JoJo's in on the interview. We have some questions for JoJo later in the interview. We'll get to her.
Oh boy, listen, she's quite a character too. But I wanted that. I wanted him to see that. And also, without getting too in the weeds or emotional about it, my mom was a 19-year-old single mom. I came home with a kid, right? And my mom was a 19-year-old single mom, and I went home essentially with a kid. When I think about, I am 48, she was 19. I get just so emotional knowing or not knowing how much she faced and what she overcame to then go on to college and get her degree and raise me and just be an amazing human being who's now celebrating her 75th birthday.
Oh, happy birthday, Mom.
Thank you. Thank you. So for me, I wanted him to see that version of me. I wanted other children to see that version of parenting, and that in this case, his dad stays with him on this adventure.
Yes. Yeah, it's just part of the fabric of the story, which I think is great because we talk a lot on the podcast about work-life balance because work-life balance is important. We're all seeking work-life balance. We want to do the best for our kids. We want to do the best in our careers. We want to be the best spouses we can. But I do think that part of finding work-life balance is acknowledging our right to be working moms and not apologizing for being working moms. Because I think for a long time, the conversation was, here's how to really apologize to your kids for having a job, or here's how to deal with your guilt about having a job. And it really struck me in this book that mom's just going to work, and the only result from that is that you're going to have an amazing day.
Absolutely. You know, I'll tell you what, I've not shared this because it's still fresh in my mind and processing it. I normally don't talk about negative comments, but one that recently stood out was someone who posted when I was promoting the book. I did a little video of my son. I don't know if that Doechii song, Anxiety, it's my anxiety. Somebody's watching me. So I did a funny post on my social media of my dog and my kid looking out the window as I was leaving out. I wasn't even going to work. I was going to run an errand, and they're both looking out the window wanting to go. And there was a comment that said something along the lines of another woman working out of the home, leaving their kid to, it sounded like Handmaid's Tales. I mean, I'll be honest with you. Like,
you're like, first of all,
I was going to get a manicure that part, right? But it was annoying. And it's just probably just some random person if I got to them, they'd say, oh, I didn't mean it. I was reacting to something happened in my childhood, right? Keyboard warrior. But it was striking to me that, again, us working out of the home for some people equals a kid that is going to lose something.
Mm-hmm. And the story is really you working out of the home and what Moses gains through that experience, which is so great.
He gains independence. He gains curiosity. He gains an adventure that leads to us. And for me, I think that that's a beautiful thing. When my son triumphantly accomplishes something without me, it feels so good. On the other flip side, listen, I was doing the Oscars red carpet and my mom was here with him. She called me and she said, his first tooth has come in. And I was like, are you kidding me? Dude, I was just there yesterday. You're going to wait for the gums to release, And so I get both sides of it. I genuinely do. I get that feeling of, wow, my kiddo is doing this. But I also know how it felt to have my mom FaceTime me. I'm there working. This is a big gig. I'd gotten the red carpet for the Oscars and she's FaceTiming me with great glee and happiness, as any grandparent would, that he's got his tooth coming in. And she's sending me pictures. And at one point I'm like, stop sending me pictures. I'm not there, But yeah, I get it.
I think it's important to acknowledge both sides of it because I certainly wouldn't argue that, forget the guilt, throw it all off. It doesn't matter. But there is a poignancy to both sides of it. And I think that there is a great advantage to kids saying, what did you do at work today? How did it go? And I'll say, oh, I had these challenges or I had this difficult interaction. And that is part of we're sharing a life back and forth together. I also had years where I stayed at home with my kids, which I really enjoyed as well. And so it's never reaching the answer or the goal necessarily. It's just saying hey, here's how this version of it plays out. Here's how that version, we're all doing it a little bit differently. And there are good and bad to both. There were years I saw every tooth come in and I really didn't feel very fulfilled. I was kind of miserable personally, but I was there for every bump and bruise. Now I don't see, I missed a birthday one year because I was traveling for work, felt bad about it. But I feel very fulfilled. And so it's finding that balance. It's not that there's any one rule. And it's certainly not the job of someone watching you for 5 minutes on the internet to tell you that you're doing it wrong.
Yeah. I think that's a beautiful way of putting it because I have a dear friend that most of my friends, to be honest with you, because I am a late to the party parent, their children are now in their late 20s. And one of my best friends, she's got a daughter who's graduating college in May and then one is graduating high school. And she is now back working, right? So she spent the front end in the home and now outside of the home working. And in truth, and this is not me pandering because I know the language of want to pit women against each other, working outside. It's all work. I mean, listen, it is. It's a different, when you are in the home, again, things don't just magically happen. Right? They don't just automatically appear in your home. And so even if the job is in the home and you are keeping the wheels on, there are things that can be shared with your children that are important lessons. Time management. I have 160 something producers and staff on my show. One of the biggest gifts that I hope that I'm able to share now that I'm a senior citizen, I guess, I try to share with them that I feel I do well, and I'm going to claim it. I do well. I time manage well. And that's a part of an experience for women, moms, whether you are occupying the space in the home 8 hours or occupying the space in an office. Time management. And so to me, sharing that with your kids, what the day was like, what it entailed for you to be on time to pick them up. That's not a small thing to me anyway. That's not a small thing.
It's not. No, we did a bit a long time ago about mom resumes and your skill set at home. And when we're looking to hire people, I'm like, who's a mom? Because time management, how to multitask. You have all of these skills and it can seem a little pat, you have great skills, even though you were just a mom. But it is actually true that the things that mothers accomplish are definitely under-recognized.
Under-recognized, and I'm going to point the finger at us. Sometimes, going back to the core of what we were talking about in the book and her going to work, sometimes these parts of our lives we make invisible.
Well said.
We make invisible to everyone in our homes, people at work, even in my office. Many of my producers are still working on Zoom. So they're hybrid schedules. And someone's kid will run by and they'll say, I'm so sorry. I'm like, why are you sorry? First of all, I'm uncomfortable that the Zoom is in your home anyway, right? I love that Zoom saved us, but I don't need to see your bed. I don't need to see your kitchen. I feel like I'm invading your privacy. A lot of information coming in, but I'm like, why are you sorry? Don't ever apologize for your child being in that video, because I'm not going to apologize for mine running behind me. We make motherhood this invisible thing. We know that, well, at least I'll say this in my profession, there are a lot of women who don't even like to take maternity leave, even though they get it, because they're afraid they're going to be replaced by the woman who's filling in for them, or that they will be seen as now soft, so they won't get the assignment to go to a natural disaster or something because you don't want to leave. It's this complex set of rules and things that people are silent about. But I feel like as moms, we cannot allow the world to make us comfortable erasing what we do.
Co-sign. I am talking to Tamron Hall, the author of Harlem Honey. We're going to dive into the book when we get back.
All my kids learned to swim when they were little. It was super important to me that they be confident and safe in the water. There was only one problem with that: taking them to swim lessons. I mean, the pools were freezing. There were always cranky adults doing laps right there. And it was definitely not, for any of us, what you would call fun.
Emmy, heard. But now there's Goldfish Swim School. Goldfish takes a really thoughtful approach to swim lessons, combining research-based teaching with a warm, kid-friendly environment that actually helps kids thrive in the water.
Every detail at Goldfish is thoughtfully designed to create a golden experience, from shiver-free, warm indoor pools to comfy waiting areas for parents to professionally trained lifeguards on deck.
Goldfish uses an approach called the science of swim play, which combines guided play with proven teaching techniques to help kids learn to swim, build water safety skills, and gain confidence, all at their own pace. Lessons are designed to meet kids exactly where they're at.
If you've been thinking about swim lessons or just wondering where to start, this is a great opportunity. Right now, Goldfish Swim School is offering a waived membership plus your child's first lesson free at participating locations.
Just visit goldfishswimschool.com/free to find a location near you and enroll using promo code FREE.
That's goldfishswimschool.com/free, promo code FREE.
Amy, when I'm having a good hair day, it usually makes my whole day better. And that's why on every day, I'm taking Nutrafol.
Nutrafol is the #1 dermatologist-recommended hair growth supplement brand, and it's the #1 hair growth supplement brand personally used by dermatologists. Nutrafol's hair growth supplements are peer-reviewed, NSF certified for sport, and clinically tested.
Nutrafol offers multiple formulas for men and women, tailored to different life stages and lifestyle factors, so you get support that's actually right for you. Adding Nutrafol to your daily routine is easy. Order online, no prescription needed, with automated deliveries and free shipping to keep you on track.
Let your hair be one less thing to worry about. See visibly thicker, stronger, faster-growing hair in 3 to 6 months with Nutrafol.
For a limited time, Nutrafol is offering our listeners $10 off your first month subscription and free shipping when you visit Nutrafol.com and enter promo code LAUGHING.
That's Nutrafol.com, spelled Nutrafol.com, promo code LAUGHING.
So this book is many things, and one of them is kind of a love letter to Harlem. I love books about kids in the city. I read all those books to my kid. I started as the cricket in Times Square in second grade. I think that's where I started it all. But there's something about kids exploring the city. We just had Nora Lally, who wrote the book Back to Bainbridge, on, and it's a story about a little girl in the Bronx kind of learning her way. And you live in Harlem. And so talk about setting the book there and the wonderful journey through all of the amazing sights of Harlem.
Well, I think for me, that was also, again, a little bit of Tamron being oozed into this character. I moved to New York in 2008. And of course, like the rest of the world, it's New York City. The first time I went to Times Square, my mom called and she goes, "Did you get a hot dog?" I see that. I'm like, "No, I did not, woman." I was like, but it is almost like a fantasy land when you see Times Square and the ball drop and all of these things. But for me, as was the case when I lived in Chicago and Philadelphia. I was a reporter in both of those cities for many, many years. It's the neighborhoods that made it. When I moved to Chicago, and people would say, Chicago is a city of neighborhoods. And I'm a field reporter. That means you're going out and all of a sudden I'm in Ukraine Village, or I'm in this Polish neighborhood and I'm getting a punchki for the first time and I'm eating foods I've never explored before. That was amazing, right? I mean, like St. Patrick's Day in Chicago,
they just did it. They dyed that whole river green.
The best. The best. I mean, and so it's the neighborhoods. And so for me, coming to New York, of course, the lure of a Tribeca or the sexiness of a Soho it's fantastic. But it's the neighborhoods of New York that you get to explore that I feel as a journalist was the most education and enlightenment and love, right? Because we love our neighborhoods. They give me that. There's a famous hip hop song about New York and they name all of the neighborhoods. They don't just name Brooklyn. They name all the neighborhoods because there's a sense of pride in neighborhood, in community. So for me, Harlem was our first home. It was the first place that we took my kid to and put him in a crib, and his first steps, his first snowfall, he felt on Stryber's Row, 138th Street in New York. So I thought it was the perfect place. It's also, like so many neighborhoods, misunderstood. Again, I'm a rural kid. I stand up for rural kids all the time because it is easy to believe that we are just little local yokels in the back of the da-da-da-da-da. So I stand up for rural families a lot. Where I'm from, there's one hospital. It is not open all the time. Many people who need specialized care have to drive to Austin, which is almost an hour drive for dialysis, for special heart care and all these things. And so the life of a rural kid brings on its own challenges and joys, right? Because I got to run in the sun and bare feet all the time with no one telling me that watch out for the car, because there was no car speeding down Coastie Drive, right? So with Harlem, I felt that it was a good reminder of the neighborhood, not the mystique, of the music and the voice. I mean, the Met Gala this year, not that I'm going to be invited, but I'll bring it up. The Met
I don't believe I will either. So we can Zoom and eat gummy bears or something that night.
Well, eat gummy bears and Zoom. I hear the food's not great anyway.
I think my invite might get lost again this year.
But forever for me. But the Met Gala's theme is a Harlem dandyism. And that's, a love letter to the fashion and to the suits and all of these things. And so for me, it was a chance to go through the neighborhood. One of our favorite books is Larry Gets Lost in Los Angeles. My son loves the Peppa Pig episode where Peppa goes to America. It's like a series. So to your point, it was fun to explore the neighborhood. But Harlem in this story is just a chance for families or for the reader to be curious about someplace. Goodnight, Arizona was one of the first books my child received because we were touring, promoting my show, and we got Goodnight, Arizona. He still has never been, but he thinks he's been to Arizona from the book.
Said goodnight to every part of it.
It's like, exactly. And so
we had one of those, goodnight somewhere. I can't remember. It was so random. I was like, goodnight Tulsa or something.
Right. And but think about
saying goodnight to the weird tower I've never heard of, but okay.
Exactly. And I'm like, let me Google how you say that. But again, travel and adventure. And so this is a form of that. I'll tell you, part of the inspiration for this was really Dora the Explorer. Dora explores these fantastical things, but I thought, why not bring in neighborhoods? And my goal is to make this an ongoing series. So, the Harlem Honey goes to Austin, and then you can learn about these things in Austin, or he does go to Phoenix because in the book, his mother works at a gallery, Studio Museum, which is a famous art studio in Harlem, world renowned. And through specifically selecting that occupation for his mom, my desire was that with her work, she travels, and then he gets to travel with her, and he learns about different neighborhoods. Because again, with children, we go from, in our minds, home to school, right? Pre-K, whatever. But in truth, they go from out that door into a neighborhood, into a community. And that's their first exposure to life outside of the love nest that hopefully we've provided for them.
And super important. I mean, we talk all the time about kids are very supervised these days, which is great in some ways. They play organized sports. They have supervisors at school all the time. This grows out of bullying and bad incidents and kids having really negative experiences when they're not being supervised. But kids are now lacking this kind of unsupervised, and there's adult figures with the kids in this book. There's a beekeeper. The kids are leading the way, and they're bringing literal honey. It's about a little girl who has a beehive, I guess.
It's a true story. Listen, and by the way, in Harlem, across the street from us, this family had a beehive.
Oh, that's great.
And they harvested honey. So that also was inspired because a lot of people are like, oh, Harlem honey. I'm like, no, across the street from us. And the bees would occasionally come by and they're like, oh, they're okay. I'm like, are you sure? So no, it's really inspired truly by this family across from us who had Harlem honey. And no, I think that's absolutely right. And that's something I think about a lot in my life because we do live in New York City. And recently I was out with another mom. She is a phenomenal mom and she's got her little girl and she and Moses are the same age. And we're walking down the street recently and she lets her child, she's Eastern European and she's we always talk about childhoods compared to New York City. So the kid is like a block up from us. And as she's getting further and further away, my heart is pounding. Meanwhile, I am clutching my child like the stick shift of my Mustang that I got many years ago. So I'm holding on. And she said, but I want her to be independent. I want her to know she can do things. And I'm like, but we're in New York City. I'm not there yet. But when we are out, we're traveling on the tour for my book and he's going with me to Houston, a book signing in Houston and one in New Orleans. He printed out his ticket. He's looking at his ticket. He knows his seat. He has to pull his own suitcase. And when we travel, and he travels a lot, he's been to like 6 different countries now. And my son takes great pride in that he's a good traveler. Secretly in my mind, I'm like, this kid is reading signs. He's navigating. It's a funny story because it feels like I have a funny story for everything. But we were on vacation as every parent, like I got a funny story about my kid. We were on vacation this summer and we were in Turks and Caicos with friends, a big group of friends and us. And I took him back to the room. It was getting late. And I got off the elevator. He said, Mom, this is not the right floor. And I said, oh, yeah. And I'm actually ignoring him, which is so embarrassing. I'm like, yeah. I see what I believe is our room. And the door is open. And I'm like, oh my gosh, Stephen left the door open because I'm not blaming my husband who's always doing things like that. I open the door. They're like 10 young people and they're like, and I go, and we're scared. And my son is in front of me. I grab his shirt. I grab him back. Everyone's screaming. And he turns to me and goes, I told you it was not the right room. Our room is 1 floor up, Mom. And I was like,
Those kids got to be like, Tamron Hall from TV just walked into my room when I was on vacation.
And yanked her child back like a hook. But he reads signs. He's 5 and he has been literate since about 3.5. He reads really well, but he reads signs. And I think a lot of his reading or feeling empowered in reading was through travel. We would go to the airport. He's like, gate 99, bop, 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 bop. So, those are the things that, that's where we give him room, right? I'm not ready to let him walk a whole 2 blocks ahead of me in New York City, but he is empowered in many ways. And I am learning the importance of that. I had a very free childhood. My spring break was go out front and have fun and come back.
Dinner's on at 6. See you then.
Dinner's on at 6, get in, and we would build clubhouses and crawl under the house and find cats and all kinds of crazy things that we did as kids in a small town. But I do think, and I learned that from Tova Klein as well, just trying to remember that in this arc of life, as modern as it is and as accessible as things are, there are just fundamental human things that we have to give them. And freedom is one of them.
The book is Harlem Honey by Tamron Hall. Tell our audience where they can find everything about you, find the book. I mean, it's 2025. People pretty much know how to buy a book at this point, but never hurts.
So sweet. No, thank you. Listen, it never hurts. I am on social media, Tamron Hall on Instagram, and I keep you up to date on all things my life there. And on Facebook, you can get Harlem Honey wherever you buy your books. Of course, support local small bookstores because we need them, not just because they're adorable and cute to take our kids to, but it is often women run, women owned in our communities. So you can buy it wherever you buy your books. But if you go online and want to click on Amazon, do that too. I'm cool with it. But the book is available for pre-order and I'm looking forward to our meet and greet and all the things. But it is something that I hope parents, grandparents, and friends take a chance and read the 40 pages. I kept it short on purpose, but the message is big.
Beautiful, beautiful book. Your kids will really enjoy it. And you'll learn a little something about Harlem, too.
Yes!
Love it. Tamron, this was a great conversation. Thanks so much for talking to me today.
I adore you. Thank you.